Information papers issued since the last meeting. Since the last meeting, the Secretariat has not issued any information paper. Agenda item 2, items for discussion at the next meeting. The details are set out in LC paper number CB bracket 1 1200/225 bracket 01 and CB bracket 1 1200/225 bracket 02. Items for discussion for the meeting to be held on the 23rd of September this year. Promoting urban-rural integration in the development of the northern metropolis. Upon discussion with the administration, we're of the view that it's appropriate to schedule one discussion item for that meeting. Do members have any particular views? Agenda item 3, handling of water main bursts and leaks. I'll first invite the government officials to join us. Members who would like to speak, please press the request to speak button. Welcome. We have government representatives led by Secretary for Development, Ms. Bernadette Lin, and Permanent Secretary, Mr. Ricky Lau. Secretary, I understand that there will be a PowerPoint presentation. Secretary, please. Chairman, members, I'll say a few words first. Afterwards, I will pass the floor to my colleague from the Water Supplies Department. To prepare this document, we asked the WSD to make an analysis on the data from 2020 on water main bursts. We also looked at serious water main leakage incidents, and we conducted an analysis. We tried to identify under what circumstances we see higher risk of water main bursts. So Annex 5 is an important document. This is because it shows our analysis. We see that saltwater mains are subject to higher risks. We also noticed that for freshwater mains, those that are not covered under the WIN, that's Water Intelligent Network, they may be subject to serious bursts and leaks. We see that the use of materials also has an impact. With this analysis, the WSD has come up with a strategy that's covered under paragraph 22. The WSD, as a professional department, has its visions. That is, in future, if it is to replace the water mains, what kind of water mains it will target. So it covers the strategy here. Another strategy that's important is how we make use of innovative technologies. We have covered certain improvement measures in the paper, and we prioritize that over the replacement of water mains. We emphasize the use of innovative technologies. This is because if we can expand WIN or WIN, and that we can upgrade the sensors, it can help prevent water leakage. The WSD will brief members on our latest work on WIN. Same for water pipe replacement. We will tell members about the vision of the WSD. I hope members will understand this. We've recently had a motion debate at this council. Every year, we do make priorities over our public works. With this vision and with this set of paper, on how we should make use of technologies in the future, how we should replace our water mains, we will base on our yearly budget to make sure that we do a good job. There are water mains leakages. So with the two strategies, how will the WSD improve its communication with members of the public, as well as how to respond to emergency? We've covered that in the paper. That's under item 3 of the paper. So now I'd like to pass the floor to Mr. Lau to brief members on the details. Chairman, I'd like to brief members on our measures to tackle water main bursts and leaks. The water supply networks in Hong Kong comprise over 8,400 kilometers. The years of service of the water mains is 22 years. And they account for approximately 8% of the total length of the pipeline. The congested underground utilities, busy traffic, and frequent roadworks bring about much vibration and disturbance to underground water mains, and that leads to high risk of water leaks and bursts as well. Between 2000 and 2015, the WSD implemented a territory-wide water mains replacement and rehabilitation program. We replaced and rehabilitated 3,000-kilometer-long aged water mains to raise the healthiness of the water supply networks. Apart from the replacement and rehabilitation program, in 2015 we adopted a multi-pronged approach. Through establishing the Water Intelligence Network and the Risk-Based Asset Management Program for water mains, we continue to monitor the condition of water mains to reduce the risks of water bursts and leaks. Currently, we have already completed 2,400 district metering areas covering 80% of the freshwater distribution networks. We collect data about water flow as well as water pressure. We also adopt targeted measures that includes leakage detection, pressure management, as well as repair of leakage points. We also deployed repair services to raise the healthiness of the supply network. At the same time, we have the risk-based asset management program for water mains. Based on the years of service of water mains as well as past leakage records and the surrounding environment, and also the consequences resulting from bursts or leaks, we employ strategies. We prioritize those subject to higher risks to improve the water main conditions. In 2017, we established the main burst hotspots mechanism. If more than one burst of water mains with diameter of 150 millimeters or above occurs within 2 years in a road section of 400 meters in length, the WSD will designate the location as a main burst hotspot. We expect that the 7 hotspots are currently covered under the program will be completed by the first quarter next year. 540 kilometers of the water mains have been covered under the program. 240 kilometers of them have been repaired and rehabilitated. And we will carry on with the rest of the works in a gradual manner. We look at the number of water main burst cases every year, and the number of water main burst cases have greatly reduced since 2000. There have been some recent water main leakage incidents that have drawn the public's concern, and we have analyzed the data from the past 3 years. We've come up with the following analysis. First, we see a rising trend in terms of freshwater mains leakage. And the failure rate of saltwater mains is higher than that of freshwater mains by 5 times. Also, we look at the conditions of distribution mains as well as trunk mains, and the high water pressure may cause flooding. Also, the risk of cast iron as well as asbestos cement irons are subject to high risk compared to other types of water pipes. Oftentimes for these water mains, the incidents happen in busy road sections. Also, half of the burst as well as leakage incidents happen in large diameter water mains. Based on the above analysis, we have come up with some targeted measures to address the problem. First, we try to use innovative technology to monitor water mains in real time. We have expanded WIN to look at the distribution mains as well as trunk mains. We also have real-time transmission functions under WIN, and we have upgraded some 500 sensors. Without having to excavate roads, we believe that we'll be able to complete the upgrading by the middle of 2026. For the other 200 real-time sensors, we believe we'll be able to upgrade them by 2027. We have been working with the Hong Kong Polytechnic University, and this year we set up the world's first joint laboratory of inline robot to speed up the development of smart robots. This is to carry out high-precision inspections for high-risk water mains. We'll continue to make use of advanced technologies to identify any potential leakage problems. In recent years, we see rapid development of smart technologies. In 2024, we set up the Digital Water Office to drive digital transformation initiatives and formulate smart water development strategy. This includes setting up an IoT perception system for the water supply networks and to develop the smart water pressure management system. We also install smart meters at the user end to address leakage problems. The second measure is to enhance the risk assessment mechanism of the program to speed up the replacement of high-risk water mains. We have identified about 44 kilometers of water mains that are subject to high risk. They are situated at busy road sections, and they are made of cast iron as well as asbestos cement, and they have been in use for over 50 years. We will continue to replace and rehabilitate these water mains. So we will repair and rehabilitate an addition of 44 kilometers of water mains. To speed up the repair and rehabilitation, the WSD has identified in total 70 kilometers of large diameter water mains of high risks. And in the coming 10 years, we will repair and rehabilitate them. For the first 20 kilometers, we've already had the approval of the Finance Committee to upgrade the works to Category A, and for the rest of the 50 kilometers, we will commence the works as early as possible. Currently, we have 1,700 kilometers of saltwater mains. 550 kilometers have been repaired and rehabilitated between 2000 and 2015. After 2015, under the program, the WSD has completed the works for 70 kilometers of the water mains. Remaining, we have about 70 kilometers of saltwater mains to be rehabilitated. Starting from this April, in Shushuaiwan and Chaiwan, we have piloted a divide and conquer program, and we divide the supply network into high zone and low zone to reduce the water pressure. The WSD will continue to adjust the water pressure of the areas. For water pipes that are made of old materials, as well as for water mains that are subject to high risks, for example, for water pipes that are connected to hospitals and other important facilities, we'll prioritize them in our improvement works. Under the program, the WSD will enhance galvanized iron water mains. We will also enhance the risk factors of these water mains. We will speed up the repair and rehabilitation of these water mains. We've already identified 44 kilometers of water mains that are of high risks, and we will launch the works in phases. In order to speed up our works, the WSD has already established an interdepartmental task force led by the director. And we have come up with the relevant traffic arrangements to minimize the construction works on traffic as well as the impacts on local residents. We have already kick-started the works for the first 8 kilometers, and for the remaining water mains, we strive to commence the works in 2027, and we strive to complete the works within 8 years' time in phases.
Right now, there are approximately 230 kilometers of large diameter steel water mains with bitumen protective coating. Such coating may peel off, so the WSD has been in phases trying to replace and rehabilitate the relevant pipes. Before the water mains are replaced, we will regularly clean the pipes and water tanks to flush out sediments. We have also installed strainers to filter out particles of 0.1 mm or above. We will complete the work as soon as possible. We will try to install more strainers if needed as well. The WSD has also been looking into new coating materials such as ceramic polymers as protective coatings. Further study is required to examine the suitability of such. We have, over the past 3 years, replaced 40 kilometers of water mains. We are currently deploying a practical and reasonable construction program and assessing the additional resources required for incorporating the works proposed above into the program. Thirdly, to strengthen emergency management of water supply incidents, we want to minimize the water suspension area and duration. For critical facilities, the WSD has been providing dual water mains to enhance water supply resilience. The WSD has also updated internal guidelines for dissemination of information and timely updates. We will also try to provide more accurate information about the anticipated water resumption time for residents. We have also strengthened communication with local stakeholders to disseminate information quickly. The WSD has also established a mechanism to bring together resources of government departments for deploying sufficient water wagons to provide temporary water supply. At the end of this year, WSD plans to launch a new integrated mobile application, e-Water, to disseminate notifications about suspension of water supply and resumption of water supply. That's it from me. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Liu. Let me read out the order in which members are going to speak. Mr. Kenneth Lau, Mr. Michael Tian, Mr. Holden Chow, Mr. Lu Chonghong, Mr. Lam San Kong, Mr. Ma Feng Kwok, Dr. Wendy Hong, Mr. Tony Tse, Mr. Chen Hao-feng, and myself. Mr. Kenneth Lau, I'll assign a 4-minute time limit of 4 minutes. Thank you. In Tuen Mun, in a week, we have had water and saltwater mains bursts. And close to Su Hong Court, that water burst has caused suspension of water supply of 7 hours. We've also had main bursts in various areas, causing serious traffic disruptions and inconvenience to residents. Providing a stable water supply is an important part of city operations. So I want to ask, is it because of 8 pipes that we have consecutive mains bursts? I also want to ask about the WIN, Water Intelligence Network. With WIN, the WSD has set up 2,400 district metering areas. It is a smart way for monitoring water situation. In Tuen Mun, we have 171 of such DMAs. Has it covered all of Tuen Mun? So I want to ask for Tuen Mun Road and Castle Peak Road, these major roads. What is the progress of installation of sensors? The government plans to, in 2027, expand the coverage of WIN to freshwater trunk mains and freshwater distribution networks. But this only covers freshwater mains. We have serious leakage risks with the saltwater mains as well. So will the WSC incorporate such tech for saltwater mains as well to monitor the leakage situation of saltwater mains? Thank you. Secretary. The first question is about supply of figures. I will ask the WSD director to answer the question. Thank you, Mr. Lau. We have 171 district metering areas in Tuen Mun right now. We have completed the relevant work in Tuen Mun. We have set up in total 2,400 DMAs, but we of course want to expand coverage. So on major road, for trunk mains, as well as the distribution networks, we will set up sensors as well. The sensors we have right now are first generation. They only send data once a day. In future, we want to have real-time sensors giving us better control of the situation. What about his question about whether saltwater mains can use such tech? It is different for saltwater mains. If we have to do it like freshwater mains, we have to regulate it under WIN. We will need a sensor layer, essentially. We need to conduct data modeling and studies beforehand. We have now high zones and low zones for saltwater supply, and we have seen great results in Taiwan so far. This split water supply mode, if it has to be used in other districts, we need to explore the technical feasibility and effectiveness a bit more. We plan to complete the exercise within 2 years. Thank you. Mr. Michael Tian. Thank you. I would first like to express appreciation for the Secretary. After the Tuen Mun Road incident, we asked for an immediate report to be made by the Bureau, and you said then you would provide a detailed report in July, and I do see quite a detailed paper. I did not really want to ask questions, but since it's about saltwater mains, I have to ask about that. We had an incident on Tuen Mun Road. We had fresh water and saltwater main bursts in Samshing village later on. Tuen Mun was in the news a lot in that period. So, do you pledge that all freshwater mains will have sensors installed in 2027? All of them. And it's just freshwater mains. You shouldn't wait until there is an emergency. And are you confident that after 2027, after the sensors have been installed, we will no longer have news reports on main bursts? Are you confident about that? For the saltwater mains, I am concerned, as I said earlier, because I went to a mall in Tuen Mun to see what the bathrooms are like, and pretty much every bathroom stall is clogged, and that was quite an unforgettable sight. You have to understand humans have needs. I think you need to conduct a study because you said sensors can only be installed in freshwater mains, not saltwater mains. Are you telling me within these 2 years we will still see a number of saltwater main bursts? I think this is not acceptable. You need some quick fixes. As for the smart water supply system, I'm not sure why our water pressure is double that of Singapore. Is that a historical problem? With such high water pressure, how can you really prevent water or mains bursts in future? How can you reduce water pressure to the level of Singapore so that we will have less water main bursts and that we can disseminate the water meter information to residents? Can you pledge that within your term you will have these sensors installed in all over Hong Kong? How much time will you need? How much will it cost? Thank you. Secretary, for the last question, why do we have a higher water pressure compared to other regions? It's because the design of the network for saltwater mains is different from freshwater mains. It is actually quite interesting. I'll let the Director of Water Supplies explain this later. For freshwater mains, we have 6,700 kilometers of freshwater mains. If we have any plans to install real-time sensors and for us to replace the first generation sensors, does that mean once we have replaced all these sensors or installed all these sensors, we will not have any main bursts? I don't think any government official can pledge that, to be honest, because these mains are underground. Vibrations of traffic can cause some issues with water mains, even with great monitoring. We may not be able to identify issues right away, but we'll try our best. As for saltwater mains, the WSC said in the world we are quite a pioneer in making use of saltwater for flushing. So if we are to manage saltwater mains under wind, there are challenges. We will not give up on the possibility, though. As said in the paper, we have this split water supply mode. Studying the feasibility of such option will help us gauge what we can do in Hong Kong about saltwater mains. This ties in with the third question about water pressure. I will let the director answer the question. Thank you. Please be succinct.
There is difference between the design of freshwater and saltwater supply network. We see hilly and undulating terrain in Hong Kong. To supply water, there is a pipe that's connected to the service reservoir, and that has to be higher than the supply district of the highest tower or building in the district. And that's why we have high water pressure. That's the design of the freshwater main network. And this is to enhance the reliability. This is because it can ensure that there is enough water pressure to supply water to all districts in case of any incidents. For saltwater main network, it's different because we adopt a pole design. It is more cost-effective this way. Normally, we have two sets of pipes, one going up and the other going down. And for saltwater main network, there is only one that goes up, and it can pump water all the way to the highest building. Saltwater, unlike freshwater main network, along the water main network, based on the demand for water, the supply varies. We see bursts in saltwater mains mainly because of a change in pressure. During nighttime, if there are fewer people using water, the water has to go up to store water. During daytime, when there is sufficient demand, the water pressure doesn't have to go so high. So at nighttime, the water will go up, and during daytime, the water won't go as high. And so this has to do with water pressure, and high water pressure would lead to rupture of water mains. So water pressure management is crucial. For saltwater mains is challenging because salt water is corrosive in nature. So in water mains, we install water meters that monitors the flow of water as well as those that monitor the pressure. We have to consider the corrosive nature of salt water. If we install sensors, it may be prone to rusting. With advanced technology, we can make use of ultrasound. Then even from outside, we can measure the water pressure. And with new materials, we can deal with the corrosive nature of salt water. So moving forward, under the smart water pressure management system, we will look at the saltwater main system. As for the split supply mode, we will look into how we can extend it to more places in the coming 2 years. Thank you. Mr. Holden Chow. Thank you, Chairman. At the end of May, there was a water main burst in Tuen Mun Road and 200,000 people were affected. That night, members of my party as well as myself went to the site. And I see that the WSD was very efficient in carrying out the repair works. Thanks to the WSD for the repair works over the night, we saw water supply resumed the following day. However, there was difference in terms of the information disseminated by the administration. I hope the situation will improve in the future. I see that according to your paper, you will come up with new ways to disseminate message. That night, it was quite hard for us to keep explaining to the local residents about the situation. Now I'd like to ask about the Tuen Mun water main burst incident. Earlier, in my oral question, according to the Secretary, 200,000 people in Tuen Mun were affected during the incident in May because there wasn't a backup supply system in the main road. So I asked the administration whether a backup supply system would be installed, but the Secretary said it would incur a high cost. So my question is, say we don't build a backup supply network for cost-effectiveness reason. Instead, we install new sensors. With new sensors, can we ensure that in case there are incidents in the future, we can learn about the situation earlier. Without a backup system, can you reduce the affected area? I agree that we need sensors, and I think you should go ahead with your program to upgrade your sensors. I'm asking, without a backup system, how can you deal with the situation when you detect any leakage problem, and how can you reduce the affected area? Thank you. Secretary, I'm not an engineer myself, but I have consulted my engineer colleagues on this. I try to, from a layman perspective, answer your questions. Earlier on, at the council meeting, Mr. Holden Chow suggested that we should have a backup system. That means we won't make use of the backup system. Normally, we only make use of it in times of incidents. That would be costly to build it and to maintain it. So at major facilities such as hospitals and the airport, at strategic facilities only, we have a backup system in place. Mr. Holden Chow said, in case of serious water main bursts and leaks, in case we need to suspend water supply, how can we, without a backup system, make use of other water pipes and connect them to the affected housing estates? I think it really depends on where you place the valves. It's like playing the pinball machine. If you close a valve, then you may be able to bring the water to the affected housing estate. In the northern metropolis, in the new development areas there, when we design the underground water pipes, we try to come up with different connecting points so that by moving one valve or one connecting point, you can direct the water to the other side. This is the direction we are taking. Of course, we also need sensors. They complement each other. Next, Mr. Michael Luke. At the end of May, there were 3 water main burst incidents in Tuen Mun. The most serious one took place on Tuen Mun Road. And as mentioned, there were unclear messages and information. My team and I went to Shuhon Court, and a lot of local residents as well as business operators said water supply was suspended. Some also complained that there was inaccurate information disseminated. Now, looking ahead, according to the government, by 2027, wind will cover all districts in Hong Kong. According to paragraph 6 of the paper, from detecting leakage point to fixing the problem, it takes 2 to 3 months. It is a long time, and I don't think this is acceptable to the public. It takes you 2 to 3 times to find out the actual leakage location. For water pipes that are covered under wind in the coming phase, you should be able to detect the water pressure and enhance repair efficiency. Well, speaking of repair, I have to bring up the risk-based program. From 2000 and 2015, 3,000 kilometers of water pipes have been replaced and rehabilitated. For the more challenging ones, that cover about 240 kilometers. What kind of measures can the government put in place to speed up the work progress? You may want to work with the Transport Department, the Highways Department, as well as the Home Affairs Department to speed up your work. Now, I want to ask about the standards applied under the risk-based program. For the incident in Tuen Mun Road, you did not apply the risk-based approach. How to decide which water main subject to high risks, which you should include under the risk-based program? Now, the paper focuses on how the administration handled water mains bursts and leaks. For the first 6 months this year, there were 43 water main leaks, and for water main bursts, there were 6 incidents. Would you adopt a clearer term so that people have a better idea of the seriousness of the water main bursts and leaks? This will allow us to know that in some circumstances, the bursts and leaks could be fixed within a shorter period of time. 2 questions and 1 comment. How to speed up the application of standards under the risk-based program, and whether you will adopt new terminology to describe the level of water main bursts and leaks. Secretary. Now, the first question is about how come with the Water Intelligence Network it takes time for us to verify the actual leakage location. This is because the past generation of sensors does not have real-time functionality. So even after the data is collected, the WSD has to analyze them. Now, with a new generation of sensors, it will be much faster for us to verify the actual leakage location. I'll ask the WSD to share with members what criteria we use to decide how we prioritize certain water mains. We look at a series of factors. I'll ask the director to supplement afterwards. Now, on the comments provided, I agree. In the past, we focused on the term water main bursts. Take last year as an example, we had some 20 water main bursts in last year, and that number reduced greatly compared to previous time. We had 1,000 cases per year in the past. So how do we define serious water main bursts? We don't necessarily see water pipe rupture, but the burst could affect the traffic situation or water supply. Then we define these cases as serious water main leaks. We have shared with the public some figures in this paper. Over the past 10 years or so, we are seeing a declining trend in terms of the water incidents. But for salt water mains, we are seeing an increasing trend in terms of bursts and leaks. In future, we'll continue to analyze the data we collect. As to how we prioritize the water mains to be focused on, I'll ask the director to supplement. Director, we look at the years of service of the water mains, the materials, and past leakage records, the surrounding environment, as well as the consequences after the water mains burst and leaks. So we look at a series of factors. Next, Mr. Ambrose Lam. I have 3 questions. According to the paper, the WSD has identified 70 kilometers of large diameter water mains that are of higher risks. And these water mains affect a large area with a high number of users. However, only 20 kilometers of the water pipes are under Category A works. For the remaining 50 kilometers, the WSD will ask for funding and strive to commence works as early as possible. My question is, for the remaining 50 kilometers of freshwater mains, is the WSD of the view that they can still see normal operation? That's why it's not prioritizing them. On the 21st of May, I raised a written question on the progress for repairing the old water mains, and a week later, half of the Tuen Mun district saw water supply suspended. Now, I want to follow up on my question. The government has plans to, in phases, repair water mains. According to paragraph 37, each year the government sets aside $600 to $800 million for repairing and rehabilitating water mains. If we want to speed up the works, how much more money do we need? Also, we still have asbestos cement water mains that are in use, and we all know that asbestos is a dangerous material. I believe the government has plans to repair these water mains as soon as possible. However, will you be able to clearly identify which ones are made of asbestos cement, and will you put in place enough protective measures for the repair workers? Thank you.
네, 와젯.
Secretary, I will ask the director answer the third question later. For the first question, for large diameter water mains, in the paper it is said 70 kilometers of the water mains should be prioritized. 20 kilometers of that have already been undergoing replacement. And the funding mentioned is actually the funding we obtained from the LegCo. And that would cost $2.1 billion. The work is to be completed in 4 to 6 years. It takes longer because these are large diameter water mains. The cost is indeed significant. For the 50 kilometers, we will need to obtain further funding. We can't resolve the issue with block allocations. I'll now ask the director to talk about the program, manpower deployment, resource allocation for each year. It's not just for the water mains. We need to consider other infrastructural works as well. Water mains replacement have their own priorities, but we also need to consider the priorities for infrastructure projects. As for the 300 odd kilometers of water mains that have to be replaced, including the large diameter water mains, if we are to spend $600 to $800 million per year, if we are completing 40 kilometers per year, it would take at least 7 to 8 years. If we have to expedite the works, that would mean deploying the resources and manpower earlier than expected. So we need to update the figures, and we'll report the figures when we have finalized the details. Can the director answer the question about asbestos? Asbestos was commonly used before. It is not exactly a dangerous material, but we have guidelines from the Labor Department and the Environmental Protection Department. We need to make sure the materials are wrapped up and properly disposed of to ensure safety of the public as well as the workers. Are you sure which sections are made of asbestos cement? We are aware of the materials of the different pipes. The speaker's microphone is not on. I do appreciate the government's tremendous efforts in pipe replacement so far, as well as try to manage the situation through wind. But for citizens, of course, they don't want their water supply suspended. They obviously don't want serious traffic disruptions either. So we need to do better. We also talked about how bitumen coating residue was found in fresh water. That is not ideal. I want to follow up on paragraph 25. It is said that we will install an additional 1,000 strainers for filtering out sediments larger than 0.1 millimeter. How long will it take? I also see in paragraph 36 that you are trying to apply ceramic polymers as protective coating in future. How much do these materials cost? How effective are they? And how long can they last? In general, when there is a leak, you may need a year to plan such works, and the maintenance works would take 2 to 3 years. So in total, it would take 3 to 4 years. the section is not long. A section would only be 20 to 30 kilometers long. In other places, this can be dealt with much sooner. Why can't we deploy more manpower, more equipment, and have works conducted concurrently so that we can expedite the progress? Thank you. I will ask the director answer all 3 questions. Director, all right? For the strainers, we have 230 kilometers of mains with bitumen coating. We have already installed 1,000 strainers in these pipes. We will enhance the strainers to block sediments larger than 0.1 millimeter from entering the inside surface at downstream. We will also install additional strainers in midstream and downstream. In the midstream, we will also have 1,000 high-risk DMAs where we'll install additional filters to provide further protection. At the downstream, we will see for housing estates and critical facilities, we will install additional strainers for where we do not have strainers at the moment. We will make sure the filtration capacity will be able to block sediments larger than 0.1 millimeter, and that is quite a high filtration capacity. We do understand citizens' concern. We aim to enhance the filtration capacity within 3 months. As for the additional 1,000 strainers in the midstream, 500 of them we have installed immediately. For the 500 remaining strainers, we will try to install them as soon as possible. As for the 100 strainers downstream, we'll try to complete such works within 3 months. So that's it for the strainers. The member asked why it's taking so long. It is because if we have to conduct works, it will disrupt traffic. And say for asbestos, cement, or cast iron mains, they are very hard to replace because they are very fragmented. Many are located in strategic roads. So we have set up an interdepartmental task force chaired by me that involves multiple departments. We try to implement special arrangements to prioritize works for high-risk mains. We don't want to wait until something happens. Then we fix the issue. But citizens would have to understand we will have to block off more roads and more frequently for the undertaking of such works. We do want to replace the pipes with our plans rather than waiting until there is an emergency. The member also asked about the use of ceramic polymers as protective coating, the effectiveness and the cost. Ceramic polymers are used to replace epoxy resin. Right now we use epoxy resin as coating for mains. It is very durable compared to bitumen. But we do note how salt water is corrosive, so we are looking into even better materials, and we found ceramic polymers. And what is good about it is that if we repair the mains with ceramic polymers, they dry much more quickly and they are more corrosion resistant. So we will continue to explore the different options how we can better improve the coating. Thank you, Dr. Wendy Hong. Members ask many questions. I would like to say this. Hong Kong as a metropolis, if there is an unstable water supply, it can cause a lot of issues. It is said in June 2024, the Digital Water Office was set up to promote digital transformation. I would like to give you 2 overseas examples. In the UK, we have Thames Water. They are making use of AI to monitor underground leakage, and their system will collect noise that would signify issues, and they will prioritize works for high-risk pipes. They also have Southern Water. They make use of low Earth orbit satellites to do scans of roads to identify potential leakage spots. Are these examples of good reference for the Digital Water Office then? Secretary, I will ask the director answer the questions. We are trying to make use of innovative technologies in water management. We do understand water companies are also making good use of such technologies. We have looked at the 2 examples that the member mentioned. On top of that, on top of AI and low Earth orbit satellites, we want to make good use of robots. But let me say this, it is hard for robots to be used because they need to go underwater. Some may say you can put it in a container to make sure it's still dry, but then we can't really prevent water from seeping into the container, so we still have to drain the pipes. So it has not been prevalent. But we have been working with the PolyU to develop inline robots. The robots can collect sonar data. Some have cameras installed, but the cameras do not really have good footage before. But we have found recently a robot manufactured by a mainland manufacturer can provide pretty clear footage, which is why we are trialing the operations of the robot in Qingyi. The problem with Hong Kong's mains is that they are very convoluted, so we need to make sure the robots are flexible enough. Right now, the robots we have, they can be propelled with propellers, so they do not only go with the current. Thank you. Next, Mr. Tong Li-Zhe. I would like to first express my appreciation for the government's efforts over the past decade or so that we see a lower percentage for main bursts and leaks. I also appreciate the government's review of incidents and follow-up measures in response to such analyses to improve the situation so as to minimize the chance of main bursts and leaks happening. I want to ask something about the paper. In paragraph 36, we talked about ceramic polymers, and we have some members ask about this. It is said Further study is required to examine the suitability of applying ceramic polymers as protective coating of freshwater mains. Saltwater mains do not provide drinking water. Can we apply that to saltwater mains first? I also want to ask about paragraphs 31 to 33. It says that we have 44 kilometers of high-risk water mains that are located in major roads. So we will have 8 kilometers done, and then we will have 36 kilometers improvement works will commence in 2027, and it will take 8 years to complete. That is quite a long time. Why is it? Do we need as long of a period for improvement works in general? I also want to ask about wind. How we can have real-time control of the situation, and it is said the second phase will only be completed mid-2027. Will you consider installing real-time sensors in the high-risk areas first? Thank you.
Director, on the question about ceramic polymers, we are already making use of this material for repair works. We want to make use of the materials for saltwater mains as well. This kind of materials was commonly used in vessels. Now, on cast iron water pipes, as well as asbestos cement pipes, the water pipes that make use of these materials are quite scattered. We are implementing a pilot scheme on Fa Yuen Road, and we are working on some 800 meters of water mains. We have to cordon off the road in phases. So we have to work on the water mains by segments, because there are restrictions in terms of when we can close off the road sections. And at night time, we need time to make preparations. And after roads have been excavated, we have to seal off the road again so that people can walk on it. All this is very time consuming. So we have discussed this at the Interdepartmental Task Force. We get people's views that they'd rather have the roads closed off for a short period of time rather than having a very long construction period. We expected to complete the works within 2 to 3 years' time, but now we think it will only take 1 year. We have identified 8 kilometers of water mains, with more water mains that are made of asbestos. We will adopt the open excavation method. We want to adopt a special methods so that we can complete the works as early as possible. But first, we have to have the support of the public. On real-time sensors, we will tackle the high-risk areas first. First, we have to expand the trunk mains as well as distribution mains. We have to work on the shafts as well. we can complete the first phase by the middle of 2026, and by the middle of 2027, we will be able to tackle those that require the building of shafts. So our strategy is to tackle the high-risk spots first. Next, Mr. Chang Hock Fung. No one wants to see water main bursts. My experience is that you only repair the spots with problems, and a week later, the surrounding water pipes also burst. This is because the original burst can affect the surrounding pipes. Well, would you consider repairing more water mains at a time so that there won't be 2 or 3 bursts in a row? In the Central and Western District, this is common. We have one water main burst and then a week later another one. Near Wong Chuk Han Road as well, near the gas station, we had water main bursts. This leaves the local residents in distress. If you are to work at night time, you might as well repair more water mains in one go, so that within a short period of time we won't see a series of water main bursts. Now, my understanding is that some new technologies have been made use of. You can use pipe jacking technology, for example. Can you make use of pipe jacking method in busier road sections, because at night time it won't affect the traffic? Will you speed up the construction program this way? On information dissemination, you said you will strengthen your work in this regard. I talked to the WSD colleagues on the scene, and they kept telling me that they are looking into the problem. We have district care teams and district councillors. If they can't even get hold of the latest update of the situation, if even the owners' corporation or the property management companies of housing estates do not get hold of the latest information, the local residents will have no idea about the situation. Are there ways to disseminate accurate information to these parties? Now, I understand that we can make use of loop supply instead of having a backup system. This method is quite effective. When water supply is suspended for one water main, the other water pipes can come in. Can you come up with a loop-based supply network to reduce the impacts of future water burst incidents on local residents? Secretary, I will tackle the third and fourth questions about information dissemination and the design of water supply network. In terms of information dissemination, we did see chaos in the recent water main burst incidents. We had the involvement of district care teams as well as our WSD staff. If we rely on humans to pass on the information, it could be chaotic. That's why we have the e-water app. We want to strengthen the functions of e-water. Say, for example, you input your residential address to the mobile app. Whenever there is a water main burst incident, it would notify you through the system. In terms of the progress of the repair works, the relevant information will not be included, but we do hope that such information will be included in the future. If you use the app, you'll get the first-hand information from the WSD. The WSD is dedicated to dealing with repair works. So we might not have a staff from the WSD on the site to disseminate information to local residents in case there are water main burst incidents again, can we have a staff from the WSD who is not responsible for the repair works to help disseminate information? We'll look into this. Now, turning to the design of the water supply network. As I said, we will not make use of backup systems because of resource availability. However, we will come up with a network that consists of different valves, and by adjusting the valves, we can have the water supply in a more flexible manner. We don't want to affect the local traffic. In the new development areas, we try to incorporate this flexible design into the plan. Director, please be brief. Now, we want to repair and rehabilitate as many water mains as possible. We have the interdepartmental task force that looks at water mains made of asbestos cement. For water mains that see a series of bursts, we will focus on them first. On pipe jacking, small water mains cannot make use of this method. In Hong Kong, it's challenging because the water pipes are very convoluted. For straight water pipes, we can make use of pipe jacking method. But for the curved ones, we may not be able to make use of the method. Deputy Chair, Mr. Andrew Lam. 3 points. On information dissemination, I understand that the administration has been working very hard. From the public's perspectives, government departments have been working in silos. So I hope the Secretary can work on stepping up the coordination among different departments. It would be great to have one centralized platform to disseminate the information about any types of incidents such as water main burst or electricity outage. So this is from the smart city perspectives. I'm not saying that the e-water app is a bad initiative. Now, on making use of salt water for flushing, the Secretary said that Hong Kong is very advanced in this regard. From the building management perspective, it's hard to manage the pump if you make use of salt water for flushing. I think we can make use of brown water for flushing to increase cost effectiveness. We should have brown water instead of salt water for flushing. This is from the building management perspective. Now, on the use of new materials, I'm happy to see that the administration makes use of ceramic polymer. However, there are restrictions imposed under the relevant subsidiary legislations. Well, I think the administration has been acting as a good gatekeeper. Well, I'm not an expert in this area. But say, for example, PPR is very commonly used in other places, but this is not allowed in Hong Kong. If we cannot find a way to replace salt water entirely. We want to look for new materials. Secretary.
能夠喺一
We do not expect to have dissemination of all information from departments in e-water, but we will try to do as much as possible with coordination between different departments. For grey water, if it is to be used for consumption, we have infrastructure planned in the northern metropolis. We will try to leverage on our experience in this area. Once we have more information to share, we will definitely report to members. Paragraph 36 only gave some examples because materials can be developed very rapidly. We see rapid advancements in such development. We now have the Building Technology Research Institute. If we need their help, we can ask them to conduct studies. We have also signed an MOU with the Water Authority of the country, and I believe we will definitely reap the fruits of such collaboration in due course. Mr. Yu Pak-leung speaking for the first time. Any other member who would like to speak for the very first time? If not, Mr. Yu Pak-leung will speak for the first time after this. Mr. Michael Tian would like to speak for the second round. I only need 2 minutes. Alright, I'll assign a 2-minute time limit for the second round then. Mr. Yu Pak-leung. Thank you. Chair. We have seen many resources being deployed in tackling the issue, and we have indeed seen great results so far. I appreciate the efforts of the administration, but as other members said, we need to leverage on the latest technologies to minimize the chance of that happening as much as possible. We don't want residents to be affected. So of course we have to prioritize works in residential areas, but we need to also attach great importance to the impact on commercial areas as well. We actually had an incident before on Garden Road, and residents at the hotel were affected, and we had the administration deploy water wagons in a very timely manner. We had a saltwater mains burst in Jordan that had flooded the basement restaurant of a hotel. So I can see freshwater and saltwater main bursts can cause great distress for residents and operators alike. It seems that in Yaochunwang we have the worst situation. We have 9.82 kilometers of mains that are of issue. But then you only have 55 wind sensors in Yaochunwang. Is it because you find it hard to install sensors in the area? If not, can you install more sensors in the area? Because in Yaochunwang there are a number of commercial activities. We of course also have a number of residents there. We do not want mains bursts and leaks happening in the area. Secretary, I will ask the director give more information about the distribution of cast iron and asbestos cement water mains and the distribution of wind sensors in relation to that. Director, we have 2,400 DMAs under wind that cover the whole territory. We need the right circumstances in order to install wind sensors. We also need to do excavation works and install shafts in order to install the sensors. We adopt the same standards in different districts. For Tsim Sha Tsui, Yau Chin Wang in general, we adopt the same standards as I said earlier. We have divided the area into different DMAs. But we also have a smart water pressure reduction system. We will have more sensors installed under that, and these will not need valves to operate. So once we have installed more sensors, we have more data for our models. So it would be easier for us to identify leakage spots. For hotels, we understand suspension of water supply can cause great inconvenience to hotel operators. So we have been liaising with hotel operators to see whether water can be transferred from water wagons to water tanks of the hotels. And we have already had such arrangement with some hotels. Mr. Michael Tian, 2 minutes. Thank you, Chair. 2 minutes. What you said about saltwater mains concerned me. You do not have a concrete answer. You only have 2 trial points. When will you be able to report to the council whether the solution worked? And if it worked, how long will it take for you to implement that in the 1,700 kilometers of water mains? The smart water pressure reduction system seems to be a permanent solution. You now have a band-aid approach with your various solutions. We want a permanent solution. And we're talking about the life of the pipes being within their lifespan. So can you tell me how long it will take? I'm in my 70s, so I do want to see that happen within my lifetime. So can you tell us what will happen with that, when it will happen, and whether it will apply to fresh and saltwater mains both? Thank you. Secretary, we want to have real-time monitoring with the sensors. So it is, in a way, prudent management. It's just like taking of medication. We also have some pressure reducing valves. What Mr. Michael Tian said is more than taking medication. It is like surgery being conducted dynamically to adjust the water pressure. That would require smart water meters or sensors in the vicinity. So we already have buildings completed in 2018 or later having smart water meters installed. So we need to make sure smart water meters are installed first before we can implement that. We have therefore selected 4 pilot areas for dynamic pressure reduction. It will take us a year to see if this solution works. But even before we implement this initiative, we already have automatic pressure reducing valves. So that is helping us with static pressure reduction already. And on Hong Kong Island in the Eastern District, we have been testing split water supply mode to reduce the changes in water pressure. Technically, the WSC has to test this for 2 years, but we are working with the WSC to conduct a midterm review, and if the midterm review findings are good, we will expand the piloting arrangements. Thank you. Alright, that completes the discussion of this item. Thank you for attending the discussion of this item, government officials. Let's move on to the next agenda item. The fourth agenda item is development proposal for Lung Kwu Tan reclamation and the replanning of Tuen Mun West area. This is an issue of great concern to the public. Let's invite representatives of the administration to come inside the conference room. I see a number of members have pressed the request to speak button. We have Dr. Wendy Hong, Mr. Holden Chow, Mr. Michael Tian, Mr. Kenneth Lau, Mr. Stephen Ho, Mr. Lau Kok-fan, Mr. Andrew Lam, Deputy Chairman Mr. Frankie Yik, Mr. Yu Patla, Mr. Luk Chung Hong, Mr. Ma Fong Kwok, and Mr. Lam Sen Kung, actually, and myself, 13 members indicating their intention to speak. I'll assign a 4-minute time limit. Welcome, representatives of the administration. The Permanent Secretary would like to give some opening remarks before a PowerPoint presentation is given, right? Correct. Chair, we are to brief members on the preliminary development proposals for Lung Kwu Tan reclamation and the replanning of Tuen Mun West area. The land will be ready in the next 10 years. I'm sure members are well aware of the geographical conditions of the sites. This area is located at the western end of the new territories. It has extensive sea frontage. It is also close to Hung Shui Kiu, the northern metropolis by extension. It is also close to the international airport and the Pearl River Delta region. It has excellent transport connectivity through land transport and marine access. So our proposals are in the two sites. We will reclaim 190 hectares, 140 of them being nearshore reclamation in Lung Kwu Tan, and 45 of such will be in Tuen Mun West, close to the river trade terminal. Altogether, we should be able to provide 300 hectares of developable land. We will adopt an industry-led approach. We propose a positioning of smart and green industrial port. We have 4 core industries in mind: green or energy, advanced construction, circular economy, and modern logistics river trade terminal. These 4 industries are common with the characteristics of needing sea frontage as well as extensive space. So we think the locations are very much appropriate for the development of such industries. We also propose to develop the port with a modern approach to create synergy. We want to have a modern and orderly park type development. We will make sure there are ancillary facilities put in place. We also want to improve infrastructure and transport connectivity even more in the area. In our proposals, we have in mind for Area 16 a cargo handling area to be relocated to Tuen Mun West. This is in response to the wishes of residents. We also believe with this relocation, it is more compatible with our plant uses. We expect with the development of the industries, 35,000 job opportunities will be created. In response to members' feedback today, we may make minor adjustments. If we are going to make significant changes if there are no significant changes, early August we will commence the consultation period. Our target is to start the planning procedures next year, and we expect in early 2028 we will commence the works for Lung Kwu Tan reclamation, and the first batch of sites should be made available early 2029. I will now ask my colleague to give the PowerPoint presentation.
係各位委員
Thank you. Good afternoon, members. Like the Permanent Secretary said, we have already laid down the major points. Our positioning for this area is a smart and green industrial port. We hope to make use of Lung Kwu Tan and Tuen Mun West for development. As mentioned, Lung Kwu Tan and Tuen Mun West, they're situated in the western part of the northern New Territories. It has great geographical advantages because it's connected to Shanghai, Shenzhen, and through Tuen Mun Chaplapkok Link, it takes only 10 to 20 minutes to get to the airport. It's also close to the Pearl River Delta region. Apart from the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, through marine access from Tuen Mun, you can get to Zhongshan as well as the western part of the Greater Bay Area. So there is great connectivity. We hope that by developing green industries, there could be good synergies with the neighboring cities. If you look at this plan here, Lung Kwu Tan as well as Tuen Mun West, as well as other areas, there are many important traffic infrastructure underway. We have the Tuen Mun bypass as well as the Route 11. And to the north, we have the improvement works of Lim Wan Road as well as the Bay Road. On the reclamation area, we propose reclaiming 145 hectares of land. And this is in line with our proposal made in 2023. In 2020, we proposed reclaiming a greater area, and we see a 1/3 reduction in terms of the total reclamation size. This is because we want to preserve the natural shoreline in Lung Kwu Tan village. In Tuen Mun West, we will reclaim 40 hectares. Compared to our proposal in 2023, we are proposing a greater reclamation area. This is to provide sufficient marine frontage for industry development. We propose 4 core industries with growth potential. To the north of Lung Kwu Tan, we want to develop green and new energy industries. To the south, we want to develop advanced construction. That's the purple patch here. In Tuen Mun West, that is the green patch here, we want to develop circular economy, and that's the major reclamation area. At the river trade terminal, we want to make use of the terminal and we want to replan it. With the 4 core industries, we want to build a modern park. We want to see modern park type development. Unlike traditional industrial parks, we want to do a better job in terms of building the facilities. We want to create synergies among the four core industries. For example, we want to promote technological development as well as research. We want to bring new growth points to our economy, and we want to achieve carbon neutrality through the four core industries in Tuen Mun. We want to also see better home job balance. As mentioned, the green area is reserved for green and new energy industry. This is in line with our policy to promote new energy. For land transport as well as sea transport, we want to promote the use of green and new energy. We want to make use of the space for the storage and production facilities for green energy, such as biodiesel, green methanol, and so on. We will reserve 10 hectares for strategic use to meet the industrial needs in future. To the south of Lung Kwu Tan, that is the purple area here, we want to reserve it for advanced construction. We want to build a construction park here. It will provide research and development as well as testing and certification services. We want to promote MIMEP, multi-trade integrated mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. We can see the production of prefabricated modules there. We want to make use of it for research centers. We will reserve 10 hectares of land here for strategic use. In Tuen Mun West, to develop circular economy, we want to see high-value recycling businesses. We will reserve land here to promote recycling. We want to have low carbon and green businesses. We want these businesses to make use of new technologies. For example, plastic materials can be used and upcycled into electricity-free cooling products. This is to promote the recycling industry in Hong Kong. At the river trade terminal, we want to replan the blue area of the terminal. 41 hectares here, and 35 of them will be reserved for modern logistics, as well as for the terminal. We want to reserve part of the land for trade, and we want to ensure flexibility for modern logistics use. Next to the part for developing circular economy at the river trade terminal, 4 hectares of land will be reserved. We want to relocate the Tuen Mun Public Cargo Working Area in Tuen Mun Area 16 to this part of the land. Improvement of transport connectivity, it is a major concern. Our first proposal is to build a new sea crossing bridge to link up the Lung Kwu Tan reclamation area to Lung Mun Road. We want to provide a more direct driving route so that large-scale vehicles can travel in the area. We also want to reduce the traffic load along the existing Lung Kwu Tan road. At the same time, we want to widen the existing road of about 1.5 kilometer long. This is also to increase the traffic capacity. We want to give members a more concrete idea about our plan. We will provide integrated facilities such as public transport interchange, cycling tracks, pedestrian walkway, and communal open space. We want to provide better support for local residents and those who work there. We want to have more multifunctional spaces to provide training spaces for local enterprises. In terms of enhancing environmental capacity, we want to preserve the water bodies there. There will be 2 green channels. You can look at the artist's impression here. We want to have more water-friendly elements and design to enhance the amenity and landscape. In terms of promoting urban-rural integration, we want to minimize the impact on existing villages. We will make use of the knoll as natural barriers. We want to have a green corridor there. The local residents can benefit directly from the development because there will be an increase of job opportunities. We will build green infrastructure so that at the sea frontage we will see higher resilience and there will be a blue-green drainage system. In Lung Kwu Tan currently there are some brownfield operations. We hope that through the development we can reorganize these brownfield operations. This is to tie in with the overall development of the area. As mentioned, the existing public cargo working area will be relocated from Tuen Mun Area 16 to this part of the site. This will release 4 hectares of land. We will see how we can make use of the site so that there can be better integration of the site as well as the surrounding non-industrial area. We will come up with a plan. We will kickstart a 2-month consultation exercise starting from early August. We will talk to the stakeholders. This is an industry-led development plan. We will consult the relevant industry stakeholders. Of course, we will also talk to the district council members. After we've collected views from the relevant stakeholders, we will further our plan and studies. We will come up with an outline development plan for the next stage. As mentioned, our goal is to, by 2028, commence the reclamation works at Lung Kwu Tan so that the first batch of land will be made available in 2029. That's all for my briefing. Thank you. 13 members have asked to speak. I'll give each member 4 minutes. We will overrun. I hope that members will make good use of your 4 minutes, which include questions and answers. Dr. Wendy Hong, thank you. We will see strategic use of Lung Kwu Tan. It will be reserved for smart and green industries. I support this industry-led approach. I have a few questions. First, this development plan is very different from the developers-led approach because the development program will last for 10 years. And also, there are uncertainties in relation to what kind of enterprises we can attract. Take DeepSeek and Huawei as examples. We'll need high-end facilities for these enterprises. For BYD, for example, we may need low-end facilities for this kind of enterprises. So enterprises do not know how much investment they have to make and the risks behind, and they don't dare invest in the development plan. I think we need to consult the stakeholders and at the same time carry on with the development plan. We have to consolidate upstream, midstream, and downstream sectors. Take Dongguan as an example. We have Tencent and other enterprises. There are in total 200 upstream and downstream enterprises there. The government will have to first invite the leading or giant enterprises, and we need them to set up headquarters here. What kind of facilities will be needed? We'll have to talk to the giant and leading enterprises in order to come up with a conclusion. Also, the permanent secretary said it will not adopt a concept used in traditional industrial area. Will you have a statutory body manage Tuen Mun West in the future? And also, will you apply the same model to the northern metropolis? Also, according to the paper, some of the land will be reserved for modern logistics. Well, the airport authority has already built a logistics base in Dongguan. Cargo come directly through sea transport. I think we should think about how we can make use of this site. We are going to promote commodity trading as well as gold exchange. Well, London Metal Exchange earlier this year has established a warehouse network in Hong Kong. I think we can make use of the river trade terminal and turn it into an exchange market. Well, I know that some people take interest in this. They hope that there could be flexibility, however. For example, they may not necessarily need a large area. Dr. Hong, please leave time for the administration to respond. They want multifunctional buildings for flexibility. So, the government does not necessarily have to sell land.
Alright, we will stop when we're at the 4-minute mark. Please give a succinct response, Permanent Secretary. I very much agree with Dr. Wendy Hong with industrial development. It should be different from the approach we take for real estate developments. Whether we are just doing land sale and land grants. As we said in the paper, we want to develop this as an industrial park. Chair, I'll be quick. We will have an office set up. It may not be a statutory body, but it will be responsible for operating the sites. It may allocate the sites. It may try to partner with some top-notch enterprises and provide concessions for these enterprises to set up shop in the sites. Excuse me, we'll stop here. Let's move on to the next member, Mr. Holden Chow. Thank you. I think we see great potential and light at the end of the tunnel for Lung Kwu Tan reclamation and Tuen Mun West development. We want to have industries that will benefit the area. We should not only fill Tuen Mun with obnoxious facilities. I see great potential here. As said, with the developments planned, say for green and new energy industries, green methanol is the future for the maritime sector, and the country is actively supporting the operations of green methanol. I visited France earlier this year, and the French people told me we can branch out from only the traditional green methanol operations. We can try to get into accreditation of green methanol, testing, maybe even trading of green methanol. We have many ancillary activities, ship leasing, ship financing, and we can have all these industries and trades set up operations in Tuen Mun so that Tuen Mun can be a premier shipping center of Hong Kong. We have great potential in Tuen Mun. If you can have green methanol operations here, if you can have accreditation operations here, we can develop this into a high value added industrial cluster. I have only one question. You talked about widening Lung Mun Road. I want to ask, how are you actually going about doing it? Because that is important in transport connectivity. Well, for Lung Mun Road right now, it is a single lane carriageway. We in future will have dual two carriageway to support additional traffic demand arising from development in the area. Thank you. All right, next, Mr. Michael Tian. Thank you, Chair. The Lung Kwu Tan reclamation and Tuen Mun West area proposals. We have discussed this multiple times, the roundtable and the administration. We have seen some developments so far. When, with their original proposals, they will reclaim the whole beach. Look at this area here. It will be gone. And then we offered we should only reclaim a small area above here. And your proposals here are quite close to what we have. I would like to express my appreciation on behalf of the residents. Often on the highways, we will have waste vehicles and other vehicles that may be transporting materials with odor. There is an odor issue. Why not have a tunnel instead? What is the cost difference between the two options, the tunnel and the highway? I am quite satisfied with your proposals. I just want to improve it some more. However, I am dissatisfied with something. You talked about how there would be a Tuen Mun West extension that will be extended all the way into Lung Kwu Tan reclamation. You expect only 3,000 people commuting in the area, so you do not plan on having any infrastructure projects. I will not argue this here, but we have a significant population in Tuen Mun, and I have been fighting for a railway infrastructure that goes from Hung Shui Kiu to Sunny Bay. We need to account for the needs of the 500,000 residents in Tuen Mun. We need to have one that goes through So Kun Wat, Siu Lam, and the Tuen Mun area. We need this infrastructure for the development of the area. So will you tell us whether you're going forward with Tuen Mun West extension, and will this project be taken forward by the Northern Metropolis Coordination Office? If not, who is going to handle this? Let me know so I can follow up with them. Thank you. Permanent Secretary. For Lung Kwu Tan reclamation, we have in mind a viaduct. It costs much less than a tunnel. It is half the cost. How much is that exactly? I don't have the exact figure here, but it is a significant investment. We're talking about 2 kilometers of viaduct. It would cost over $1 billion at least. So that's the viaduct option. I do note the members' concern about an infrastructure between Sunny Bay and Hung Shui Kiu. We have considered the potential traffic capacity. It does not justify a railway extension so far. We will no longer study the feasibility under us. We will, however, liaise with the Transport and Logistics Bureau to see if they will follow up on this. Thank you. Mr. Kenneth Lau. I would like to first declare that I have land in Lung Kwu Tan, so I have an interest. 2019, we have had a report given by the Task Force on Land Supply, and we originally had a proposal that would reclaim the entire beach. Residents were dissatisfied, of course. After rounds of negotiations with the Development Bureau, we now have a proposal of reclaiming 190 hectares. And we will also have a sea crossing bridge for heavy vehicles. We have some good outcomes, but I still have some questions about the paper. According to paragraph 6, we will have a sea crossing bridge to link up Lung Kwu Tan reclamation area to Lung Mun Road. Most of the vehicles traveling on this bridge will be heavy vehicles. What is the structure of this road? Will we have 4-lane dual carriageway here? We have seriously congested traffic in the area, and in future it will be worse with Lung Kwu Tan development. We have the Tuen Mun West link. You expect 3,000 PX per hour. So will you try to improve the situation at the bottleneck on Wang Chu Road as well as Tuen Mun West link as well as on Route 11? Thank you. I will ask another officer to address the questions on the infrastructure, the sea crossing bridge, etc. We do note Mr. Kenneth Lau's concern and the dissatisfaction expressed by residents earlier. As you said, we now only propose reclamation of 190 hectares. It's 1/3 less than before. We believe it would have minimized the impact on residents and ecology in the area. Thank you. I will now ask my colleague, Mr. Wang, to supplement my answers. We have a sea crossing bridge that will connect to nearby roads. We will have the same structure as those roads. It will be 2-lane dual carriageway. We do understand there is a bottleneck on Wang Chu Road. We need to have in mind in future the completion of Tuen Mun Bypass and Route 11. The Highways Department said they will be completed around 2033, but we do also note that the Highways Department need to conduct some improvement works in the area, such as Lung Fu Road northbound in the direction of Wang Chu Road. They will have improvement works done to connect to Wang Chu Road eastbound. In future, traffic going to Tuen Mun Town Center, they can take other roads. For Tuen Mun Road going into Tuen Mun, people have to go left at the moment going into Wang Chu Road. Now they have plans to have an other lane in the area so that we can have traffic diverted. Thank you. Mr. Stephen Ho. I agree with Dr. Wendy Hong. We have an eco park in the area. When the green industries were asked to set up operations, they weren't given much support. The operations are pretty much dead. So in the end, NGOs now take up the space to recycle bottles. Basically, they're just trying to do separation work. We need to learn from this experience. We should have better arrangements for the enterprises that we are going to have in the area. We will have Lung Kwu Tan reclamation, that is near-shore reclamation. I urge the administration to have in mind the currents in the area and what the implications are in maintenance costs. I am concerned the maintenance costs may be significant. We don't want unnecessary reclamation, of course, because it can be an impact on the fisheries of Hong Kong. So I ask the administration to be prudent. We will have green and new energy industries. We will also have modern logistics area close to the river trade terminal. And I think we can develop marine industry there. If we can introduce characteristic marine structures or operations here, it will be good. And I think you can include this as part of the industrial park. I also note for Samshing Village, Samshing Pier, and Samshing Road, we will have some noise when works are being conducted, and the operations may cause some noise. I think we need to make sure, because we also have the Shamshing Typhoon Shelter nearby, there will be people living there. There will not be complaints about noise. We have in Area 16 a site that is to be vacated. We have warehouses there right now. Will we change the uses there to tie in with the leisurely activities that are going to take place in the future, say leisure fisheries? I think you need to consider all these from a macro perspective. We need to make sure we have high value activities. We should not have only activities that generate no economic value, such as harborfront promenades. That's it for me. Thank you.
Permanent Secretary, I thank Mr. Stephen Ho for the comments. On the green channels, we will pay attention to the maintenance costs of the green channels. We'll see if there will be space to develop marine economy, for example, spaces for research activities. We will take into account your suggestions. As for the relocation of the public cargo working area in Area 16, we think there is currently no residential development in Tuen Mun West, so it is a appropriate proposal to have the cargo working area there. We will see what impacts there will be on Samshing village. True, there's no residential development. Even if you build office spaces there, there will be noises still. I hope that you can come up with a vision for the future industries. For the river trade, for the green channels, if the current is not right, there might be dead fish, and there might also be silt. Mr. Edward Lau, I support the Lung Kwu Tan development proposal. We don't have the outline development plan yet, so there's a lack of plan for the brownfield operators. So I think we are heading to the right direction in terms of building a park there. We will see green industry, circular economy there, as well as advanced construction. This is compatible with the existing use, such as eco park, as well as statutory facilities such as incinerators. They are waste to energy incinerators. We will be able to develop a green economy there. So I support this proposal. I'm more concerned about the future logistics industry. There will be a pier, so we will see advantages for facilitating trade. In the northern metropolis, there will be site for logistics and Hong Shui Kiu as well. The Transport and Logistics Bureau is now studying the use of 36 hectares. And there will be a company managing the northern metropolis, and there will be site for multi-story buildings there as well. So there are plenty of sites reserved for logistics use. Will you look at all these sites together with this development proposal? Will there be sites released if you combine the site for logistics use? Otherwise, it may not be very cost effective. So I'd like to listen to the administration about this. On transportation, I agree that there should be connectivity between Lung Kwu Tan and Tuen Mun. We want to have a road that goes directly from Lung Kwu Tan to Laofaoshan and Hongshui-Qiu. Will this be materialized? If there is a road that links up Lung Kwu Tan and Hongshui-Qiu and Laofaoshan, it will revigorate the industry there. Now, I believe the transport infrastructure will cost a lot. A lot of infrastructure projects have been planned in the pipeline, so I want to know if you have enough budget for that. Permanent Secretary. On the site reserved for logistics use, I think this site is different from that reserved in the northern metropolis because this site in particular is close to the airport. Some of the logistics facilities are engaged in e-commerce, and the cargo will be packed, and through the airport they will be exported to different places around the world. And you asked about the needs for logistics site. We will employ dynamic planning. We will review the overall use of logistics site. Well, I think that we will see certain strengths to this site because it is close to the airport and the mainland. Now on transportation link, I think the member is talking about the improvement works of Deep Bay Road and Nim Wan Road. The improvement works are now under plan. The Deep Bay Road is close to Laofaoshan, and for Nim Wan Road, the Environmental Protection Department and the Highways Department are planning the project. As for the cost, we don't have the concrete figure yet because we are still trying to come up with a more solid plan. Well, this site will see strategic development, so we hope that we can lower the cost and at the same time take forward this development as soon as possible. Mr. Andrew Lam. I'm looking at the plan here. I think compared to the proposal made 2 years ago, we have seen a significant improvement. From the strategic use perspective, I think it is crucial that we have the logistics industry here because it is crucial to have the connectivity between the western part of Hong Kong and the western part of Zhujiang. Because we do not want homogeneous industry. We also need to make good use of the shoreline. This is an important resource we have. And I think this development proposal reflects the importance of the shoreline. I hope you will insist on this idea. Now, on the concept of building an industrial park, I think there are many possibilities. I think you need to leave certain buffer room in terms of how you're going to make use of the land there. I agree that you don't need major residential development there, but should you reserve sites for apartments and hostels for staff working in the industrial park? You need flexibility in terms of your transport facilities as well. It's not a very convenient spot that we're talking about. Tuen Mun West, well, there might be drones delivering food to the area in future. But so far, I don't see any policy centering on industrial development for this site. Well, I'm not criticizing the Development Bureau or the Permanent Secretary. If you don't have a solid policy or plan, you will see problems with the northern metropolis and this new industrial park. You have to think about the positioning. Well, we are different from the mainland. There are vast land resources in the mainland. So I think you have to consider all these factors as you take forward the development proposal. Permanent Secretary, I agree. We will leave room for flexibility as we take forward the two development projects. For example, we think about whether there is a need to build hostels or apartment buildings to cope with any potential future changes. We cannot only rely on land to take forward the development proposal. Say, for example, if we manage to attract leading enterprises here, we can offer, for example, tax concession. We can even offer direct financial subsidies. The government is looking into all these possibilities. Please give us some time. We hope that we can come up with a more complete proposal which will facilitate us in bringing in businesses and capital. Mr. Frankie Yik, I support this new development proposal. I agree that the river trade terminal should be reserved for logistics use instead of for residential development. So for 45 hectares of land, 10 hectares will be reserved. So 44 hectares for green and energy industry. And you will reserve site for example, the storage of biodiesel as well as green methanol. Well, this may fall under different policy bureaus. Do you have a concrete plan for this? Second, I think it is important to keep the water bodies to build a green energy industry, but the depth of water is about 10 meters, so you can hardly have vessels berthed there. So will you extend the terminal so that vessels can berth there for fuel bunkering? Now, on the site for modern logistics use, you plan to reserve site at the river trade terminal. Currently, there are some brownfield operators there, and you will take back the site there. How big is the 3 brownfield sites there, and will that be enough? I agree that Tuen Mun West is the best spot for modern logistics, because it is close to the airport and it is also close to the container terminal. Now, on relocating the public cargo working area from Area 16 to RTT, again, I support this idea, but is the 4 hectares of land enough for loading and unloading? Also, currently there are some short-term tenancy sites being used for the same purpose. 4 hectares of land together with the STT sites, are they enough? Well, please talk to the relevant stakeholders to understand their needs.
Secretary, we are more than willing to take part in meetings with the trades to listen to their views. For new energy industries, we have reserved land to work with the Transport and Logistics Bureau. We have an action plan on greenfield bunkering published by that bureau earlier last year. And as the name suggests, greenfield will be used. They are looking at this with biodiesel and green methanol in mind. As Belinda said in her presentation, they are looking into whether it is possible to manufacture these sources themselves. As for the river trade terminal, we will have vessels dropping off cargo. And as you can see in this plan here in the middle, there is a box for advanced construction. To the south, it is a circle, a blue circle. This is what we have in mind for a pier that is an extension of the terminal for vessels to berth at. As for what you said about brownfield operations, we should have enough space to accommodate brownfield operations. As for the 4 hectares for the relocation of the Area 16 public cargo working area, the site we have reserved is also a 4 hectares, so that should be enough. Thank you. Mr. Yu Patlang. Thank you, Chair. The new development proposals are an improvement from the original. I appreciate how we are retaining the river trade terminal because we are trying to construct more piers, and it is seen in other regions as well. If we are losing it, it is a pity. And I note in Tuen Mun West, we will have a permanent aviation field facility. And it is just 10 odd minutes away by sea from the airport. Let me first declare I am a board member for the airport authority. I think we need to have coordination with the airport authority to develop industries in the area. We also have in mind green and new energy developments in the area. We have been trying to promote the use of sustainable aviation fuel, SAF. In the policy address, it was also said that we should set some targets for the usage of sustainable aviation fuel to reduce emissions in the aviation industry. So we have in mind to develop green and new energy industries. Do you have specific plans to support the use of sustainable aviation fuel? I also want to ask about the triangular reclamation area close to the terminal. This is above Tuen Mun Chatlap Kok link. It is a beautiful area. It has great views. And we have a number of residents who will hang out at the lawn. They ride bicycles there. So for the lawn there, it is quite large. So this one here. What's the ownership of this piece of land? What is the use of this piece of land? Will there be some synergy between this piece of land and other developments? Can we develop tourism somewhat with this in mind? Thank you. Permanent Secretary. Thank you for your comments. We did have discussions with the airport authority when we were drawing up our proposals whether we need to reserve land in the area for developments tying in with the airport operations, and they expressed that it is not necessary. As for the use of sustainable aviation fuel, the EEB has reserved some space for development of aviation fuel facilities, so that space has been earmarked. I'm not sure which location you're referring to, but my colleague said it may be a work site of the Highways Department. Regardless, it is quite close to the Tuen Mun West area. We will review if this site can be included in the development. We will study the feasibility of doing more in the site from a tourism perspective. Thank you. Mr. Look Chung Hong, thank you. I would like to express support for the development proposals for Lung Kwu Tan reclamation and the replanning of Tuen Mun West area. It has incorporated feedback from the FTU and district stakeholders. We no longer will have residential developments. It will not cause more pressure in the area. The public cargo working area will also be relocated to somewhere close to the river trade terminal. This is rationalization of the different facilities. We have also better uses planned. We have 6 beaches in Tuen Mun. There's great potential to develop tourism. But Tuen Mun West, I understand, will focus on industrial developments. I have some concerns. We need to talk about the cost. We have relatively poor transport infrastructure. We are going to have a sea crossing bridge in Lung Kwu Tan that is 1.5 kilometers. We also need to widen Lung Mun Road. We may also have a viaduct between Lung Kwu Road and Lung Mun Road. We will have various infrastructures. How much do they cost? What are the views of stakeholders on these infrastructure? I do understand you're also trying to promote circular economy. What is the blueprint of the government in development? What value-added activities are there? For the high value-added activities of circular economy, that would involve reuse of luxury furniture. They have a great market in the mainland with only minor repairs. They can be resold for great prices. Will we have other support measures to promote the circular economy, because they need some support in order for such operations to be sustainable and to support the creation of 35,000 job opportunities? Thank you. Permanent Secretary. The member is concerned about the cost. As I said earlier, we do not have specific figures. We have to wait until the studies are completed. We do understand the government is in a tight fiscal position. We'll try to make sure every penny is well spent. Why did we select this location for reclamation in Lung Kwu Tan? Because it has shallower water, so we think the cost of reclamation should not be that high. With this in mind, on promotion of circular economy, we have reserved about 32 hectares of land for this. The EEB has similar views as those of the members. If we are to collect yard waste and upcycle them into furniture, that is somewhat doable. So we have space earmarked for yard waste collection and treatment facilities for upcycling. Earmarking of the space is the first step. The EEB, as the responsible bureau, will consider whether any other support measures and concessionary measures are needed. Before Mr. Ma Feng-kwok speak, I would like to extend the meeting by 15 minutes. I don't think we'll need the full 15 minutes, but just in case. Mr. Ma Feng-kwok. I think the development proposals show the government's pragmatism with reference to local circumstances and changes in the market. It is definitely much more feasible compared to residential developments. We already have many industrial infrastructure in the area. We also have the river trade terminal that are conducive to the development of industries. I very much support the development proposals here. For the positioning of smart and green industrial port, we are going to develop advanced construction. Do you have in mind to develop the MIC industry in the area? Right now, such modules are manufactured in the mainland, and land transport connectivity has impeded the use of such modules in the private sector. If we can improve that, it will be ideal. I also want to ask about the promotion of circular economy. We need to have a synergy mindset. We have acoustic metamaterial products and materials for electricity-free cooling products that are to be upcycled from yacht waste. Is that really feasible? What specifically is the government planning? Do they need more financial support for such operations? I understand that the reclamation works will commence early 2028 and the first batch of sites will be available early 2029. Can you expedite the progress, because we are in relatively poor economic conditions right now? If we can develop industries early on, that will be beneficial to the economy. And what are your priorities for the development of industries when you say the first batch of sites will be made available in 2029? Thank you. Permanent Secretary. Whether we will try to promote the use of MIC and MINEP with the development of advanced construction in the area, that is what we have in mind. In fact, we said in our presentation, we do not only want to have storage facilities, we want to have research and development activities take place in the area. We want to make the components lighter so that they are easily transported to sites. There is much space for us to do one-to-one R&D of MIC components in the area. As for the promotion of circular economy, as I said earlier, we want to go with high value added activities. We do not only want to promote recycling, we want there to be upcycling, so that high value added products will be made from waste. As the member mentioned, for acoustic metamaterial products, they are already being manufactured at the moment in Tuen Mun West. They are looking for more space in the area, as well as potentially in Tuen Mun. These products can be used in noise barriers and other equipment and structures. They are of great use. The timeline we have is actually already an expedited timeline. We'll see if there is any room for further expedition or further speeding up of the workflow. Our priorities will be advanced construction and green energy industries. Thank you.
Mr. Ambrose Lam. Now, on one hand, the government is saying that we see a low usage rate in terms of birthplaces. But then you're reserving a large area of the river trade terminal for birthing. Why does the government think that we will see a growth in river trade at the terminal? Do you think that future industry practitioners will make use of the river trade terminal for transporting? Thank you. Permanent Secretary. Currently, the river trade terminal occupies an area of 65 hectares in Tuen Mun West. Its usage rate has been on the low side. It is only at 20% of its original design capacity. So we have been in talks with the TLB on how we should meet the needs of the river trade terminal. So we are reserving 35 hectares of the RTT for different purposes. It can be used for advanced or modern logistics. If need be, we can also turn it into a pier. So 35 hectares compared to the existing 65 hectares of site, it will reduce, we will see a huge reduction in size. As to whether we will keep the river trade terminal for modern logistics use, we will listen to the views of the relevant stakeholders to see how the future development of the industry will look like, so that we can give full play to the 35 hectares of land reserved. The key is whether cargo will be transported by sea, making use of this river trade terminal. Permanent Secretary. When land was granted for the RTT, it mainly receives cargo from Zhujiang by sea or cargo from the Pearl Delta River region. I think there is huge competition in the river trade in the mainland. Some of the work procedures that used to take place in the river terminal is now relocated to Zhujiang as well as Pearl River Delta, including packing of cargo. So compared to 10 or 20 years ago, we see a much lower usage rate of the river trade terminal as well. So we have to really think about what the future should be for river trade and our river trade terminal. Under the National 14th Five-Year Plan, Hong Kong is positioned as a maritime center. So we have to study carefully how we should make use of the 35 hectares of site. Now it's my turn. Lung Kwu Tan, Tuen Mun West is positioned as a smart and green industrial port. With this proposal, we've got some positive feedback. Well, the government always emphasizes industry-led approach. Well, I think this is a solid proposal. It is not high in the sky. We have a very established construction industry in Hong Kong. For example, we have been making use of the modular integrated construction method, and we have yielded results from this. Now, some brownfield operators have been forced to relocate, and I've been in talks with the relevant departments over the past 2 years about this problem. I think this is exactly how we can make use of the land in Tuen Mun West. We can also make use of the reclaimed site in Lung Kwu Tan, so that there could be more buffer zones for the construction industry. Well, I'm very happy that the government has taken on board our views, and this proposal deserves our support. The site will be used for logistics, developing circular economy, and for building the green and new energy industry. And we are indeed moving forward in all these areas. So this is a desirable proposal because it will promote the development of these industries. Now, the government has been adopting the infrastructure and industry-led approach. Some members asked about the time it will take for the development to be materialized and the cost incurred. I think that Lung Kwu Tan can be used for advanced construction as well as green and new energy, but reclamation will take time. Some brownfield operations will be relocated, and I see that this proposal will offer a solution for the existing brownfield operators. Well, I want to know what the Permanent Secretary has in mind about how long this project will take. Permanent Secretary. We believe the reclamation project will offer help to the existing brownfield operations. So we are seizing time to carry out the planning and take forward the project. While we are going to conduct consultation, indeed we are moving ahead with the EIA procedure. So we hope that by 2028 we'll be able to commence the reclamation works. We hope that we'll be able to make use of the first batch of land to be made available for relocating existing brownfield operations. And we keep this in mind as we decide which part of the site should be reclaimed first. We'll talk to the CEDD and see whether there's room to speed up the reclamation works. Thank you. We're wrapping up the discussion for this item. I thank the government officials for attending this item. Now, next agenda item 5, any further business. I don't have any AOB. If members do not have any further matters, meeting adjourned. Thank you. Thank you for attending the meeting.